When shooting a compound bow, there are many tools that can help you improve consistency and accuracy. One of them being a stabilizer. Having a stabilizer attached to the bow helps you hold the bow steady and prevent kickback. Without the stabilizer, the bow tends to fall backwards. This next piece is a quiver, and it allows you to hold arrows. The Quivalizer combines these two parts and redistributes the weight of the quiver and uses it to stabilize the bow. To redesign the quiver and stabilizer and combine them into one, I began with measuring, then modeling my quiver on NX and appropriately dimensioning a rod to fit it. To construct this, I began with molding the quiver. I first glued together cardboard that will hold the mold and the quiver that I will be molding. After all of the holes and gaps were covered, I poured equal parts of silicone liquid rubber into the cups, mixed them thoroughly, and dumped them into the mold. I had to use 2 bottles of each part, and this was barely enough. The liquid did not cover what I needed completely, so I grabbed whatever objects I had, including pieces of cardboard, flares, and an arrow shaft, and stuffed them into liquid to take up more volume and raise the liquid over my piece. After 6 hours, the mold was set, and I cut it out of the cardboard. This image shows my final mold and all the items I had to stick in along with the quiver I was molding. Next, I worked on cutting the mold to remove my quiver. Doing this was much more difficult than I originally expected due to the size of the mold, complicated geometry, and all the small holes on the quiver that the mold filled around. After I got the quiver removed, the mold turned out pretty good. It captured the details very well, but part of the mold got ripped off. The mold was almost ready to be filled, but first I sprayed it with mold release to make sure nothing would stick. After this, I mixed 2 equal parts of liquid plastic and poured them into the mold. The liquid plastic only took about 30 minutes to set. After I removed the plastic piece, it turned out extremely well and was able to copy very fine details of the quiver. There were some imperfections due to the part of the mold that ripped off, but I was able to peel and cut away this extra plastic. Next, I had to machine an aluminum piece for the quiver to attach to. I drilled holes in a 1/2-inch aluminum rod, turned it down, cut it, and threaded it. The holes of each piece were pressed into each other and glue was added to join them. The shop was missing the thread size to match my bow, so I had to turn down my piece to a smaller diameter and use a nut to hold it in place. My Quivalizer was able to hold all of the arrows, and when tested, they stayed in place. The Quivalizer also did a nice job with preventing the kickback of the bow. The project ended up working extremely well, but I found a few things that I would like to improve upon, such as using removable thread piece at the end of the Quivalizer to easily be able to adjust the weight, and using a different material to allow the arrows to snap into the quiver easier.